Hey fam, welcome back to Babbling Tat. Today's episode is about something that I've slept on for way too long. The small wins. You ever get caught up thinking that it's the big stuff that changes everything? Like it is the entire mountain or nothing. The dream job, the huge breakthrough, that I've made it moment. I used to chase that like really hard. That was the only type of drive that I had, was for that I've made it moment. I would sit there plotting these massive leaps, like I'll fix my whole life by next week. And I would totally miss all of the tiny steps that were right in front of me that would lead me up that mountain. And it's taken me freaking years to see those little moves, but I swear to you, they are the real MVPs. So today we're digging into small wins, big shifts, celebrating those micro moments that stack up to transform your life and your mental health. Talking about the quiet stuff, the stuff that doesn't necessarily flex on Instagram, but shifts you deep down in your soul. Because your best self, it is not waiting for a spotlight or a parade. It is growing in the cracks in your everyday. As always, thank you for being here wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Thank you for choosing to spend this time with me today. So, why do small wins work? They're bite-sized, no pressure, no, oh shit, where do I even start type of feeling. Now, science backs this up. Completing little tasks, even those dumb ones, hit your brain with dopamine. It's that hell yeah buzz that you get from checking something off of your to-do list. Like making your bed. I used to scoff at that. Like, who cares? I'm gonna crawl back in it later anyways. Like, nah. But then I started doing it. And after I made my bed, I felt ready to tackle the next thing on my to-do list, and the next thing, and the next thing. Big goals, though, they are mountains. They are looming, they're scary, and they are really freaking high up there. I would set these giant plans. I'll heal all of my trauma by summer. All right. And I would just freeze. Small wins. They are the ladder, though. They don't yell, fix everything right here, right now, in this exact second. They whisper, just do this today. And that I could handle. So let's paint some pictures, some real stuff. Like drinking water instead of doom scrolling. 5 seconds, but it could be a huge vibe shift. Pausing to breathe when you're about to snap instead of snapping. I've done that mid-argument and have saved myself an entire blowout rabbit hole spiral shit show ordeal. Maybe it's saying no to one extra favor, which is huge for us people pleasers. I hear ya. For me, I can pinpoint back to 3 years ago. I was a mess, lost, and numb. I was barely getting by every single day. One day, I grabbed a pencil and I wrote for 5 minutes. It made no sense. Just words, thoughts, incoherent sentences, even just some straight up like scribbles. But it turned into a lifeline for me, and it helped pull me out of the fog. Or think about this. Someone stuck in their grief gets up, brushes their teeth. That's a win, fam. It's quiet, but it is massive. Now, these don't scream success, but they are the pulse keeping you alive. Hey fam, quick sec. If you're vibing with this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss an episode. Support the show further by shopping RDC or buy me a cup of coffee. The links are down in the description. Thank you for keeping this train rolling. Now, back to it. Now, resilience. Oh, this is where small wins shine. That rough stretch that I mentioned, I couldn't face the big fights. Therapy felt like walking on glass. Talking it out was just too freaking painful. But those micro wins, They were my oxygen. Writing one sentence when I couldn't speak. Taking a walk when I really just wanted to hide. Even just putting on socks some days. It sounds silly, but it was me saying, I am still here. And honestly, I found that anywhere that I could. I remember this one morning, rainy, bleak. Everything sucked. Like everything. Instead of laying in my bed, dooming the day, I got my ass up and I made a cup of coffee and I watched the rain. Tiny, right? But it broke my spiral of staring at the ceiling, dooming, staying in bed. Have you ever had a day where getting out of bed was in itself a war? That's your win. Do not sleep on that. Do not discredit that. Do not just shove those off to the side. Those wins matter too. Now the ripple effect is where it gets kind of wild. Stack those small wins. And you end up not being the same person. It's sneaky, but it snowballs. You ever heard that 1% better daily thing? Like meme, quote, whatever you want to call it, social media? I used to think, 1% a day, that's 365% better in a year, right? Wrong. It is so much bigger. Math, all right? Math says if you just improve 1% every day for 365 days, you don't get 3.65 times better. You end up like 37 times better. 37. It's compound magic. 1% today builds on yesterday, then tomorrow piles on more. It blew my mind. Like I went back and Googled it a lot. Like so start at 1, add 1% daily. And by day 365, you're not at 3.65, you are at 37.78. I swear, Google it. I'm telling you, it's wild. Real life hits harder. Take my headspace, for example. It used to be a war zone. And if I'm gonna keep it real with you, some days it still is. But back then, it was 110%. You're failing 25.8. There was no let up from it. And I started small. One kind thought a day. And honestly, that thought more than any other one was just the fact that I showed up. Now, it did not fix me overnight, but over time, and even now, still to this day, 3 years later, I showed up, and that was enough, is a small win that I regularly celebrate. And that's the ripple. Small shifts compound. You don't see it one day, or maybe even a week, maybe not even in a month, but you keep stacking them, and suddenly you're taller. Now, it's not loud like a billboard, right? It's not. It's quiet, like a seed splitting a rock, like that flower breaking out through that crack in the concrete on the sidewalk. So, where's your 1% hiding? One less yes, maybe? One deep breath? That is your shift starting. So, let's lock this in. 3 steps to ride the small wins wave. First, pick one tiny goal. Commit to something stupid small daily. 1 minute of stretching. Your back will thank you. A sip of water before your coffee. Hydration is always good for you. I've been jotting one thought before bed. Ends up turning into more, but I start with one. And it helps keep my head clear. Pick yours. Tiny is the point. Second, track it. Use a sticky note, your phone, napkin, whatever it may be, and mark each win. I had sticky notes all over my mirror for the longest time. You showed up today. Whatever win it was, slapped on a sticky, slapped on the mirror, boom. Mel Robbins high five theory. I would high five my post-it notes instead of high fiving myself in the mirror. Boom. Same, not quite same, but I mean, it worked. All right. Moving on. Third, cheer yourself on. After each one, Give yourself a freaking pat on the back. Like, acknowledge yourself out loud. Acknowledge that win. It might feel fake at first. You might mumble and roll your eyes and, all of the things. But acknowledging yourself, seeing yourself, acknowledging your wins, having receipts of those, it's how you start to trust yourself a little bit more every day. So hype yourself up and say it like you freaking mean it. You have earned it. Now, here's the deal. Big shifts don't need big wins. They need you, even if that means showing up small. Stack those micro moments, and you'll be soaring before you know it. What is one tiny win that you're claiming this week? Drop it down in the comments so I can help cheer you on. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn the noties on, and I'll catch you on the flip side.